Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Michelle and I'm going to show you a little process video of me attempting to finish off a couple of little scraps that I have lying around. So I think I've seen a trend in my work since the beginning of the year, and it's me trying to finish off all the little scraps and bits that I have lying around on my desk and in my little container of offcuts. I think I'm trying to make space for new things and just to declutter. I tend to do that in the beginning of the year, like even in the house. I normally do a clean out and throw things out that we don't use and that sort of thing. And this year I see that coming through in my art as well, which is quite interesting. I will be sharing a couple of shorter videos over on Instagram. So if you don't follow me over on Instagram, please go ahead and give me a follow, and then you will see some extra content there, just shorter reels of how I use up my scraps. I also do a lot of coloring in process videos over there from my Art By Marlene coloring book that I don't necessarily have on my YouTube channel. Anyway, I started off with those 3 little bits of collage paper scraps from Marlene, and she happened to have the same napkins or serviettes as those florally ones, so I decided I would use that as well because I had a tiny little piece of that left over as well. So I thought I would try and use that up. And I also have that very colorful kind of paint strokey napkin that I have lying around. So I'm just putting that on my page as well, just to add color into the background and a little bit of interest. So I do dry everything in between, and then I went in with, I think it was a little bit of clotted cream just to fill up those gaps. I saw the same kind of color on those collage papers of Marlene, so I thought I would just use that to close up all the white gaps. And now I'm taking inspiration from the second serviette or napkin that I placed over the top, that brush strokey one, and I'm just doing brush strokes just in different colors. So I've used happy and happy, ballet, hot curry, this is fuchsia, Kermit I'm mixing with a little bit of envy just to make it a little bit more green, and I think I might go in with mermaid as well. Yeah, I do go in with a little bit of mermaid as well, and I'm just doing little patches of color here and there just to tie the whole page together. And you can see now, even with just that extra layer over the top, it's actually looking a lot more closer to a finished piece than it was before. Now I'm going to add a little bit of stamping because Marlene's collage paper had quite a bit of detail in those sections that I had. I also wanted to add those details into my page. Now I'm using completely different stamps and textures and things than that was on her paper, but it still works out in the end. Marlene's paper had this dotty stencil that was also reductive stenciling like I'm doing now, so I figured I would just continue with that on my page, and I really love the way that turned out. So reductive stenciling is when I put some paint down on my paper, then I stick a stencil over the top and I wipe the excess away with a wet baby wipe to get kind of a ghosting effect. Then I'm using that same stencil and I'm using red, and I'm adding some red dots because again Marlene's paper had those red dots in, and I normally don't use red in my work. It's a very bold color for me, and I'm a little bit terrified of it, so I don't use it often. But I really like the way that those dots looked on my page. I think also the fact that Marlene had it in her paper and I liked it, I figured, well, it can't be that bad, so let me try it. Marlene used this stencil on her paper, and so I decided I would also use it, again doing some reductive stenciling, adding a little bit of white space back into my page by doing the reductive stenciling and normal stenciling through that stencil. Now there was this one spot on her paper where you could see in the right hand corner there, it was this stencil, but it had a pink outline. So that's kind of what I'm trying to replicate by doing the extra pink reductive stenciling over the top of what I've done there. And I liked the effect of that. Then I decided I needed a little bit more flowers, and I'm choosing specifically the whiter parts of my page to glue the flowers down, and I'm adding some extra white space just to make sure that you can see that those are flowers. Otherwise they would probably blend into the background colors a lot, and they'll add a pattern, but they won't be as easy to identify as flowers without the lighter background. Okay, giving everything a dry, and you'll see I'm snipping off the edges as I go along. I also punched in the holes again into my page, and I'm just gluing little bits and bobs down that were not stuck down properly. Then Marlene had some circular scribbles on her paper as well, and I'm just using one of her stamps from the Bold Words stamp set. So it's not exactly the same circle that she had on there, but that doesn't matter because it's still a circle. It still ends up as pattern in that background. Then I tried to do a little bit of white stamping. It worked. The first one worked okay, and then it didn't work anymore for some reason. Okay, then I loved the background. I really do. But I felt like it was just a random background, and I needed something to kind of pull it together. So I grabbed out the falling leaf stencil, and I decided that I would put some gold on this page. So first I went in with a layer of white gesso through that stencil. Then I dried it off, and now I'm going in with that gold. If I had tried to put the gold over first, I wouldn't have had such a nice opaque gold because the background colors are so bold, and this gold paint isn't very opaque. So I give it a base layer of white first, then dry it off, and then I go in with my gold. And I really, really like the way that this gold came up on my page. I don't use metallics very often, but when I do, I actually really, really like it. So maybe I should try and use it a little bit more. I'm going to add some gold splatters. I'm just watering down some gold paint and using a fan brush for that. And then I'm giving it all a dry. And I was much happier with those leaves on there. I felt like it just kind of blocked in the background a bit because I felt like the background was spilling over the edges, and it was just going everywhere, and I felt like the leaves just kind of reined it in a little bit. Then I have some embossed stamps from that same Bold Word stamp set. I've just embossed it on different colors paper and different embossing powders, and I have a stash of them. So I used the word art, and then at the bottom there I wrote doesn't have to make sense. But I didn't like my writing, and I didn't like the way that it sat on the page. It didn't stand out enough. So I've gone in with some white gesso, black gesso, and I did 2 big bold lines, and I'm going in with my gold paint pen, and I'm just doing the doesn't have to make sense part with that, and I was much happier with the way that looked. I also have from that same stamp set, there were like little medals, I don't know what they're called, emblems, but anyway, I also had them embossed with gold on black card, and I decided to add them as a little dangly bit on my page. If you liked this process video, please remember to subscribe to my channel. I upload 2 videos a week for you guys, mostly Art by Marlene, but I do use some other products. Subscribe, like, give me a comment. Let me know in the comments actually if you use metallics and gold on your paints. I'd love to hear if you use those. And I will be back again soon. I'm just attaching this little dangly bit with a little pin to the top of my page. And yeah, I'll be back again soon. Bye.